The thing with the internet is that criticism is unavoidable. While I think that's fine on its own, it's very frustrating when people try to criticize things without the needed context. When you look up Humberto Reno on Google, one of the first results is of some Redditor saying, Ramos's art has improved, but he needs to learn how to draw anatomy. Like, he very obviously understands anatomy. These poses he draws Spider-Man in, especially, would not be communicated nearly as well if 90% of Ramos's style didn't have this crazy pushed silhouette. Like, I cannot fathom how you can look at art like this and go, why is his neck so thick? Why are his fingers like that? This is just good shape design and appeal. Canete is very similar to Ramos in that he receives the similar criticism of not adhering to traditional anatomy and having super wacky proportions in his characters, but he pushes it even further in such a unique way. This one panel especially got kind of popular online. I remember people asking if they thought Canete might be the worst Spider-Man artist ever, but again, can you really look at this panel and tell that it's not on purpose? The layout was genius, and Popcross Studios has a series on YouTube where he talks about good and bad comic art. A lot of art you've already seen in this video appears in that series, actually. He gives the artist a lot more grace when it comes to this kind of stuff, and I'd really recommend his channel. I think he explains why this panel is secretly amazing, a lot better than I could.
Say that Lady Stiltman's leg is really helping sell the trail that your eye is supposed to go down. Presumably your eye would start up in that first Spider-Man panel of just his head, and then go down onto Lady Stiltman's hair, follow down through her leg to Spider-Man's body, go up through his body to where the webbing and his leg and her leg meet, and come up the rest of the way, and it's just such a fluid, movement-filled piece, and everything in it, including the wonky anatomy, is helping sell that movement.
But it should be added that Canete can absolutely do accurate anatomy, in quotes, accurate, as seen here. I do not like Liefield's work personally, I really don't, but you can't bring up this topic without talking about him. You have to understand that Liefield is a product of his time. He was a self-taught artist who kind of just got lucky when he showed his portfolio to Marvel. If you look at Todd McFarlane's work or Jim Lee's work when Liefeld first broke into the industry, it's very apparent that Liefeld's style emulates McFarlane's. McFarlane was pretty much Liefeld's mentor for a while too. While McFarlane's style has kind of evolved beyond this era, Liefeld's is still very camp and very 90s. Again, I do not personally like Liefeld's style from an opinionated perspective. I really do not like the way he draws women in particular, or just any facial expression, because what is this? But just looking at his art and going, hey, the proportions are weird, the cross-hatching is messy, is just really tone-deaf. Like, you're not even considering why, or considering the fact that, like, every mainstream comic looked like this in the 80s and 90s. People loved Liefeld in the 90s. You will see this cover in every worst comic book art ever, worst comic covers ever list. This cover is weird, and the texture is weirdly gritty, and Wolverine's face is... yikes. But Pastoras' art is gross. The faces are almost contorted and uncomfortable. Pastora's work is at its best when he's drawing these otherworldly creatures. I definitely don't think this is his best work, the Wolverine one, but just saying, hey, that looks ugly, is such a terrible summary of Pastoras and his career. I'm aware that a lot of YouTube videos, articles, and posts in general would use hyperbolic language like the worst something, because that kind of negativity gets views. Making this video, I just want to make a point about how we treat comic artists online. I'm not trying to criticize or attack any other creators. I really don't think these artists deserve the hate they receive, or any artist that has a panel or two that just look weird. A lot of those compilations will have a panel that mostly looks fine, but then, oh hey, this character's face is really weird looking. The only exception to this, though, is Greg Land, because screw that guy. For those who aren't familiar with Land, the majority of his stuff is traced. Not only does he plagiarize other artists and photographers, but a lot of his panels don't fit context-wise. Greg Land is really his own topic, which makes me kind of sad for the whole industry from a sequential arts perspective, because everyone knows he traces, but he keeps getting hired because he makes deadlines and his work is consistent. Doesn't mean it's consistently good, or in some contexts consistently makes coherent sense. To summarize, it makes me sad that these astonishing artists get some of their most unflattering work thrown around YouTube videos and Reddit posts, getting ridiculed by people who aren't familiar with their work outside of this one instance. It's that kind of like WhatCulture media effect where you don't know where this comes from or the context of the image, you're just hearing somebody tell you about it. There's even this one YouTuber I was watching who brought up Miller's Dark Knight 3 Master Race Volume 6. One of their critiques is, why is Superman wearing purple leggings and a ponytail? Like, bro, you cannot be serious. Like, you obviously don't know what you're talking about if you don't even know that's not Superman. Also, this comic had a really experimental art style. Again, God forbid anybody have a unique art style and try something that deviates from the typical smooth, same-face comic look. So, thank you for listening to me rant about this topic. I want to make some more videos about comics and the comics industry because I think I'm pretty decently versed in it. If you want to see some more videos like this, please let me know. I hope I didn't come off as angry towards any of these creators with different opinions. Thank you for watching. Let me know if you have anything to add, and take care of yourselves.